Hey everybody, Scott Stevens here. Had the website weatherwars.info for a couple of years and just I didn't get burned out on it. I kind of got to the limits of where I thought it could go, at least within that kind of construct of just looking at, say, weaponry. When I think there's bigger issues that going on, and I've kind of ventured off into something a little bit different, to where I want to talk about issues. Because I think issues are more important, and or maybe even in how we view the world, what kind of lens we look through, are more important than right or left things right now. I think we got to get beyond that really quickly. We're kind of at the 0 hour for a lot of issues. Sure, geoengineering is a part of that, and we can all see kind of what's going on in the skies. There's weird stuff going on. Some call it global warming, some say it's CO2, others claim that it's the sun. Just look at the cycles. And that there are other little micro aspects like deforestation and desertification and everything that's going on with the glaciers. This is this grand story going on, and I've kind of been into that, but I think because that's such a big issue and what's happening with the planet is going to become really apparent with people really, really soon, that we've kept it off at some 5-year, 10-year, 50 or 100-year kind of issue, when for me it seems not alarmingly close, but already underway. And I think most people would probably agree with that and at some point on the scale. But if we're going to solve that or not solve that, it's a choice. It's just always a choice. We still have to deal with energy. We have to deal with health. We have to deal with pollution. And I think a lot of what the future is going to have for us, and this needs to be a discussion in this presidential election, is environmental remediation. How do we do that? And let's just assume that a place like this, forests, woods, creeks, streams, I'm in Colorado, that if these spaces weren't larger, it would do the work of cleaning up the atmosphere. These are the filters. Let's just nourish nature, and that'll take care of the CO2. It'll take care of the water. It's what happens when man abandons a Chernobyl. It flourishes, but in a different way. And that way is kind of a little alarming, but it's intriguing at the same time how radiation affects evolution. And it's hugely distorted at first, but in time, it finds a balance. It always finds a balance. So, education's something else. We're probably not going to go back to schoolyards the way they were. Just too much. Kids are too good at carrying this COVID issue that we've got right now at this point in time in mid-2020. So I think there's going to be huge hesitation in even sending the kids back to school, and that's really going to empower at-home learning, neighborhood programs, online programs that are supervised on a neighborhood level. I really see that's kind of where this goes. And as I see it, that's a huge decentralization of education, because there's getting to be some really good programs out there for kids to use. And so I see the dependency on the state in the area of education is going to be adjusted hugely, if not almost become non-existent, except in maybe can't even be supervisory. It just has to be an observational role. We've been constrained by education and processes for more than 2 generations, so that requires a hard reset. And the virus is going to do that. In fact, it's doing that. But I think we're going to see really small groups of education, 20, 30 kids tops, and of all ages. Why break it down by age? There's always that opportunity for mentorship in those kind of situations when you have, say, K through 12 together, or even more likely K through 8. But because so often by 9th grade, kids have a pretty good idea where they want to go. So you can be a lot more adventurous in their education. And one's and society's both curiosity capacities can kind of grow in a very intriguing and exciting way. But new energy, that's inevitable. And maybe humanity will finally be responsible enough to take possession, of limitless energy. And that I look forward to. But it cannot happen it really will not allow to happen until there's a different power structure. And then those technologies will flourish. So, and that's just kind of obvious because it would be too easy to have those turned against you, those kind of limitless energy devices. And that's not something that I think humanity's capable of risking right now. But there's just a lot of things going on in election year. And I don't see a whole lot of talking. I see posturing and an odd claim of someone doing something wrong that is offensive, but yet not offering up real solutions other than those that can't last the test of time. And that's really kind of, there's so many issues that these two characters in positions of the next title of President of the United States of America, I mean, Commander-in-Chief, there's a great deal of responsibility inherent in that position. And it is highly understandable why two factions would both want to vie for that position of executive power. I mean, who do you want to give that power to, considering how capable the word yes or no is going to be in the hands of these two people? And that's really what elections are about, are having those kind of discussions to where you're comfortable, you feel good about it. Not in a partisan way, but at the core of your being, that you're okay with that individual, with that ideal of power or use of power, because that's what that position is. It's a use of power, ultimately. To give back, to return, to inspire, to grow, to allow to flourish, to love, versus one of taxation. And it's really just about that stark of a choice. And for me, both sides are looking for something new. And I was gonna say, where's my pup? That's Comet. That's my boy. And my girl, Stella. Those are the two. They keep me outside at the perfect time of the day. Got a few mosquitoes, but they're certainly tolerable. Probably the best I've ever had in the 10 years here in Swatch County. But there's a lot that lies ahead of us. And much of it immediately so. We're going to have to make decisions. Big decisions. Gutsy decisions. Exciting decisions. Comforting decisions. All of those are going to come together and come in waves. Each of those emotions, excitement bordering on fear, fear bordering on excitement. There's that boundary between the two. And we've been able to do so many things in society that give us both of those expressions of fear and excitement all at once. And in fact, it's almost an adrenaline that we've all had to experience, whether we've really wanted to get on the right or not. You look at movies, you look at music, you watch the news, the stories that we're told, the narratives that we digest, or some of them we regurgitate. You know, we're not talking about these things, and my goodness, is it just right for the kids to grow up with this anger everywhere? This disregard for life because of how it's cheapened in music, in movies, in games. I mean, life in that world has virtually no value, simply because it can be replaced so easily. And that's not the way it is in the real world, at least at these time scales. I mean, just think of the kids that are being born now, all that faces them in the next 5 years, 5 weeks. For goodness sakes, who knows? You know, this is a time and a point where we've got so much potential, even though it seems like it's most bleak. But it's the kind of people that are here now, the best and the worst, and that's the game. One is sent to play the other or play off the other. And it's a dynamic that's going on between every form of life. From, and they're not that far away from humanhood, especially the more evolved ones. There's this boundary between animal and human life. It's a big jump to get a human body. It's a big responsibility. And you'll get a lot of them. A lot of them. Because the game is for keeps. But that's the big game. Right now we've got the short game. What's this Q thing? What's this Q thing? All right, so what really this is all about is I've had my YouTube channel and my points of outlet largely on my homepage, but I've kind of gotten, definitely, it feels like a team was sent to me. Well, I resisted. We always do. Not always. And we just kind of had a relationship over the past years, and others have come, at least on my part of it, recently. And it's just kind of exciting how kind of building this project kind of around the changes we see coming. Well, they're here, baby. They're here. So it enables us to develop some projects and how we deal with, what's already upon us. But I'll be doing daily weather shows that'll be on Metadigm Digital on YouTube, and certainly on my home Facebook page. But eventually, it's all going to end up in an app that's under development, and it's really kind of cool. Podcasts will be there, shows, just kind of how do you say? I don't want to say life development, but ultimately that's kind of what it's about. There's a responsibility, there's an accountability, there's a goal, the tools to get there, and then the showing upness. I mean, there's just parts of it. And so it's been really fortunate to have a team come along, my partner included, and just have this Metadigm digital project and to see how it grows. And I'm kind of excited about it. So my content will be there. That's basically ultimately what I've taken 20 minutes to say. And that's the name of the YouTube channel. So content will be not quite daily, but pretty darn close in one form or another. But I'm just really feeling that, like I said a bit ago, is that this 0 hour has arrived. And that just means it's decision time. And we've seen how national dynamics have changed in the last 10, 15 years, and even 50 years if you want to go back farther. And that's probably a more accurate time frame to be working within, because we've gone through like a whole cycle of Cold War to a détente and to a blending and mixing of the populations and border redrawings. I guess and on the larger time scales, every landmass does that. But